Well, good morning there to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Scott Manning coming from Scott Manning YouTube Sports Talk. I want to thank all my loyal viewers for being with me here this morning. I just want to take a few minutes to talk about this. The new AP Top 25 College Football poll is now out. It came out on Sunday evening. I have the new poll for you. I want to share it with you here this morning. I'm going to give you my take on the whole thing, and I'm going to tell you why some of these changes happened. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you up front, No.1 Alabama and No.10 UCF were the only two teams that stayed where they were. Ohio State moved up one spot to No.2. Clemson, despite the bye week, moved up to No.3. Notre Dame, despite the fact they had to come from behind to beat Pitt, moved up to No.4. LSU, one of the big winners this week, they moved up 8 spots from No.13 to No.5. Michigan, the Wolverines are really being surprising people. They shot up from No.12 to No.6 after their big victory over Wisconsin on Saturday night. Texas, they moved up 2 spots from No.9 to No.7. Now Sam Ehlinger had to leave the game. I'll get to that here in a few moments. Georgia, they got their doors blown off down in Baton Rouge. They went from No.2 to No.8 this week. Oklahoma, they moved up a couple of spots from No.11 to No.9. UCF stayed right where they were at No.10. Florida, they moved up 3 spots from No.14 to No.11. Oregon, after their big victory over Washington on Saturday out in Eugene, they shot 5 spots from No.17 to No.12. West Virginia, I'd hate to be in Morgantown right now. I'm glad I don't live there. They went down 7 spots from No.6 to No.13. Kentucky moved up 4 spots this week. They're now at No.14. Washington, one of the big losers of the weekend. They went from No.7 to No.15 after that lost on Oregon on Saturday. NC State, a nice surprise. They shot 4 spots from No.20 up to No.16. Texas A&M. What can you say about the Texas A&M Aggies? Shot up from No.22 to No.17. Penn State, one of the biggest loser of the weekend after losing to Michigan State, 21-17 on Saturday in a final minute touchdown. They went from No.8 to No.18. Iowa, welcome to the top 25. You come in at No.19 this week after some big victories. Cincinnati shot up 5 spots from No.25 up to No.20. South Florida moved up a couple of spots from No.23 to No.21. Mississippi State shot up a couple of spots from No.24 to No.22. Wisconsin, their big loss against the Wolverines on Saturday really hurt them. They went from No.15 to No.23. Michigan State, welcome back to the top 25. And I also want to give a special welcome to the Washington State Cougars. They are now in the top 20. They wrap up the top 25 this week at No.25. Now for all the craziness on what in the world happened. LSU, shooting up from No.13 to No.5. It's very simple. Joe Burrow had a great game. I gave him a game ball on Saturday. And I'm still going to stick with that. LSU beat Georgia, hands down. Georgia was totally lost. Jake Fromm couldn't get anything going. McCall, and I'm telling you, Georgia just had a bad game, and that's all there was to it. Michigan, look what happened to them. They beat up Wisconsin 35-7. Shea Patterson had a great game on Saturday night. Think about that. No.2 Ohio State, No.6 Michigan. If it stays like this going into November 24th and the final game of the season in the Horseshoe, look out. The Horseshoe in Columbus and the whole city and all Franklin County is going to be jumping like crazy, like there's no tomorrow. Let's see. I want to talk about No.12 Oregon. Look what they had to do. Justin Herbert took that game on his shoulders on Saturday over their victory over Washington. They had to come from behind in overtime. That's how they did it. But West Virginia, what can you say? I want to talk about West Virginia for a second. West Virginia looked totally lost on Saturday in their loss against Iowa State. Think about this for a minute. They had no offense. Their offense was horrible. 9 first downs for the game, 152 yards total offense for the game, 1 for 10 on third down, and Will Grier got sacked 7 times in that loss. That's embarrassing for the Mountaineers. But let's talk about the Washington Huskies for a second. A lot of people said Washington threw that game away. They did in overtime. Jake Browning and Myles Gaskin, They had a great game. They both had great games, but the Husky defense let them down in the end. And that's all I can say about that. Let's see. Wisconsin. They may not even be good after the game that I saw with Alex Hornibrook. And I'm going to be totally honest with you. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you. And everybody in Madison, Wisconsin is going to hate me for saying this, but I'm going to say it. After the game that Alex Hornibrook had, I'm going to be honest with you. Wisconsin may not even be good enough to win the Big Ten West. Because here's why. Iowa. They're now in the top 25. And they're already ranked ahead of Wisconsin. Despite the fact that Iowa gave away their game late earlier in the season. Another team I want to talk about, Michigan State. Brian Laricki, he took that game on his shoulders against Penn State last Saturday. And Michigan State is now back in the top 25 because of it. They come in at number 24 this week. But I want to talk real quick about Texas. Sam Ehlinger. I'm a little bit concerned about the Longhorns now because here's why. Sam Ehlinger had to leave the game in the first quarter due to a shoulder injury. The question is, will he be good to go will he be good to go this week? Only time will tell that. But the bottom line is, after what I saw out of Ehlinger, I'm a little bit concerned now. I'm going to be brutally honest. I still think Texas is going to win the Big 12, no doubt in my mind. After the performance that West Virginia gave on Saturday night, they had no offense. Will Grier got sacked 7 times. If this is any indication of what the Big 12 is going to look like, I think Texas is still going to have it wrapped up, no matter what. Now keep in mind, West Virginia still has to face Texas on November 3rd. So there's a lot to play for. So is there a lot of concern there? Yes, there is. But West Virginia, Oklahoma. If by some miracle West Virginia does knock off Texas and West Virginia beats Oklahoma, then West Virginia can still win the Big 12 championship. But they're hurting. But I'm going to tell you right now, the West Virginia Mountaineers are hurting after their performance on Saturday and the way they got embarrassed. That was an embarrassment. That's what I saw on Saturday night out in Ames, Iowa. The curse of Ames struck West Virginia. Remember back some years ago when Oklahoma State was 3 and Alabama and LSU were like 1 and 2? I think that was like about back in 2011 if I remember right. Iowa State knocked off Oklahoma State and threw everything into a tailspin. Alabama and LSU got in. Oklahoma State still finished at number 3. And that's when the BCS was still going on. And if you take out the letter C and BCS, that's exactly what I think of it, by the way, as well. But, Ohio State moving up to number 2. I'm a little bit on the fence with that after our performance against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. We should have blown the Golden Gophers away. But I'll give Minnesota credit for the first 3 quarters. They played Ohio State hard. They did. But I'm really concerned now because 7:30 Saturday night, we got to go to West Lafayette, Indiana to face Purdue. And Purdue has spoiled the party. Then Purdue's ruined the party for us here before. They've done it before, and they might do it again. We cannot have these slow starts, and not against a team like Purdue, because they're quick. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm concerned because Ohio State is playing us hard now. And here's the deal. If Ohio State loses to Purdue, it throws the Big Ten into a big tailspin. That's all there is to it. But all in all, this past Saturday in college football, I almost didn't do a show on Saturday night because there were so many upsets, and I would have had to sleep because I've seen the whole top 10 go down. And if I was doing my show back then, I would have said, I'm going to come back tomorrow and try to make some sort of sense in all this. That's why I waited until today to do the AP Top 25 poll, because I needed a day just to sleep on this and come up with what I'm going to say, because I had to let it sink in. Because West Virginia getting humiliated by Iowa State, Penn State giving it away, losing to Michigan State in the final minute, and LSU embarrassing Georgia. I knew LSU, Georgia. I knew those two. I knew they were going to play each other hard, but I didn't think it was going to be a blowout down in Baton Rouge and Death Valley. But what can you say? 7 weeks into the season, people, 7 weeks. And it's just going to get more and more crazy. And if I had long hair, I'd be about as great as my old man, to be honest with you. I'm not lying to you. After this past Saturday, it's a miracle I still have my sanity. And that's all I have to say today. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I want to thank you guys for taking the time with me here this morning. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Scott Manning. All you have to do is type my name down, scroll down, look for this pretty face, click subscribe, and you'll see all the sports videos I have done so far. I'll be back Friday night, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for the Scott Manning YouTube College Football Podcast pregame show. The only college football pregame show on Friday night here on YouTube. I'm going to have a lot to talk about as usual. We got some big games over the weekend, and I'm going to be honest with you. If this past Saturday was any indication, what is this Saturday going to bring? And that's all I can say. I just want to thank you guys for being with me here on this day. You guys take care of yourselves. Have a great day. Thank you so much for being with me. And goodbye, everybody, for now, and God bless.